been missing nearly 5 weeks now. The focus remains on his stepmom, Terry Horman. Even though she has not been named a suspect or even a person of interest, Kyron's biological mother sent this tearful message to her son.
Kyron, we love you and we miss you. We remain here working hard every day to get you home. Please do not be afraid because the police are going to find you.
We have a very special guest joining us tonight. Zach Gallinger is a contractor who got the same ad that this other landscaper purportedly got, the one who was purportedly solicited to put out a hit on Kyron's dad. Zach Gallinger, I'm trying to figure out when you connected the dots, when you put 2 and 2 together and said, oh my gosh, this woman I was trying to contact about that landscaping job, that's the same lady that's in the news, that lady with the red hair right there.
I didn't really figure it out until even after the police talked to me a few weeks ago. I thought that it was a detective just doing their due diligence, following up on any information they had and finding out how it was connected. And until later, when the story broke that she had tried to hire a landscaper to possibly murder her husband, that's when it became interesting, and that kind of explained why the officer or the detective was so interested in exactly when I talked to her, what we talked about, if we had spoken at all, had I been to the house, and he wanted all that information.
So it makes me wonder whatever happened to this alleged purported murder-for-hire plot. If you tried to contact her and she didn't respond to your initiative to try to get this job, it occurs to me, John Lusich, did she suddenly decide, well, I'm not going to do the murder-for-hire plot? Did the original landscaper turn her down but fail to notify police until after little Kyron disappeared and she was maybe mulling it over? What do you make of it?
It could all be almost anything, Jane. I mean, we don't even know if this really happened. But as these guys conduct their investigation, they're going to be talking to several people. Now, if this is the only guy that she supposedly got offered this to, then there's an issue there. There may be an issue with this guy's credibility. If these cops knew that they had a real solid case against this woman for hiring someone to kill her husband, they would have arrested her already. And there must be issues with this guy that's making these allegations right now, or at least they can't substantiate what he's saying.
Well, you know that after the purported solicitation occurred long before this little boy disappeared. And then after the child disappeared, the landscaper, the other landscaper, not the Zach that we have on tonight, but the other landscaper who was reportedly solicited says, oh, this boy disappeared. That lady is the one who asked me to do this. I'm going to go to cops. And Zach had pointed out, and I think it's a great point, Zach, you pointed out yesterday, if he had gone to cops initially, this little boy might be safe and sound at home. Correct, Zach?
Right, that's right. Yeah, I would hope that any landscaper approached with any illegal question would go ahead and bring that to authorities right away, regardless of if there is a missing child or not.
Kyron's biological mother, Desiree Young's anger was palpable when she was asked how Terry Horman can afford a hotshot attorney. Check out this.
I can't speak for Terry, and I can't speak to her circumstances. She's the only one that knows about all of that.
Do you know who's paying for it?
I have no idea. Terry would know. You can ask her.
Aaron Runyon, your beautiful daughter Samantha was abducted and murdered in May of 2002. Of course, we're hoping Kyron comes home safe and sound, but is there any way you can describe for our viewers what Desiree Young, Kyron's biological mother, is going through right now emotionally?
Oh, it's just agony. It is your worst nightmare as a parent is to have your child taken and to not know whether or not they are suffering from one moment to the next. It's just a nightmare. It is just a nightmare to have your child missing. Samantha was found within 24 hours, so I can't relate to 5 weeks of not knowing, but just in the 24 hours that I didn't know, it was torture.
Kyron's biological mother cleared something up at yesterday's news conference, saying she hasn't known the stepmother, Terry Horman, as long as the media has been reporting. Listen to this.
I didn't know Terry until after Kyron was born. That was when I met her. It took me about 1.5 years before I even ever talked to her. So Kyron was about 1.5 years old.
James Pitkin with the Willamette Week joins us by phone. You're a reporter covering this story. What do we know about the relationship between these two women?
Well, it's been reported here, Jane, that they did know each other prior to Kyron being born that they were friends, and that at that point Desiree got sick, had to go for some medical treatment, and Terry stepped up to take care of Kyron while she was gone. At that point, she developed a romantic connection with Kane, and one thing led to another.
Now, James, I got to ask you, what's going on with this murder for hire plot? I mean, it's been reported, and they reports, quote, reliable sources close to the investigation. We got to wonder. The mom's reportedly not cooperating. There were reports she was deemed evasive on polygraphs. There were reports her cell phone pings didn't match up with the story of what she said happened the day Kyron disappeared. And then she purportedly tries to hire a hitman. It seems like quite a bit of an accumulation of fingers pointing at her, but there's not a peep from the cops. Why not?
Well, definitely, and there's a lot of frustration about that. I guess they're trying to protect their investigation, but a lot of people are wondering, what have they got at this point? What do they still need to make an arrest? Is she dangerous? Should she be out there? People are asking these questions and not getting a lot of answers. So there's frustration.
Certainly a judge thought she was dangerous.
Yeah,
I mean,
a judge.
certainly a judge right off the bat, in order to get a restraining order, the threshold is very high. And in this case, the husband walked in, filed for divorce, walked in, got an immediate restraining order based on the fact that the cops gave him this information about this proposed, murder for hire. So a judge in that case believed that something horrific could have happened, and he allowed this restraining order against the husband and the 18-month-old baby. So now we're just waiting to see. They have to keep this investigation very close. They don't want to jeopardize it in any way. We'll probably know something by the end of the week with regard to that plot and whether or not she truly is a person of interest. But we can say we're talking about her, we're awfully interested in her. She is a person of interest right now for the police.
Also, Jane, just want to point out, that morning that they were at the school, keep in mind, everyone just keep an open mind that it was an open public setting where anyone could have entered through the doors, and that investigators are looking at other avenues as well. There are some bizarre developments in this case, and obviously with Terry Moulton Horman, but also just keep in mind that investigators are still accepting leads. They've received almost 3,000 to date, and that we can keep moving forward. There's a candlelight vigil this Friday at Skyline Elementary School at 8:30 p.m. to honor Kyron.
Thank you. Betty, Michigan, your question or thought, ma'am? Hey, Betty? Oh, Betty. Okay, Betty is not there, but let me ask you a question. Casey Jordan, criminologist. If Terry did do something, and this is a hypothetical, it's an if, okay? She's not a suspect. The lady you're looking at here with the red hair, there she is, either doing a great acting job or actually upset. We don't know yet. But you would think that if she did do something untoward to this child, presumably there would be some evidence. A shovel, a tarp, blood, DNA, all the stuff that we talk about in other cases. So,
all right,
where's the evidence?
We don't know what the police have that they haven't shared with the media. And if they are doing a good investigation, they have things that they're not sharing. So these holdbacks can trip her up. But we really don't know what they've got. And I think that they could be, as they say, assuming that she is their #1 suspect, kind of like Susan Smith, give her enough rope to hang herself. In other words, let her have her freedom. I think that losing her husband, her 18-month-old child, all of her friends, and having the media attention on her right now is the pressure that might actually crack this case.
Well, I gotta say that I also think it's very interesting that she was supposed to deliver the child that very day and drive 110 miles. And I wonder if her doing all that driving for her stepchild might have created a resentment and caused her to explode. Fabulous panel.
Well, that was dumb. Even though she was supposed to, according to what they're saying, drive Kyron to go meet his mother because they were going to, I think Kyron was going to go with his stepfather on a fishing trip or whatever. Kane was home that day. So if there was going to be any driving, I would assume that they would have driven together. I would assume that Terry and Kane would have taken Kyron and Kiera on that trip, because I believe Kyron's mother is like 5 hours plus away. So I think it would have been a family ride together, not just Terry taking Kyron.